dear students, good morning. So in this section we will discuss the power and as well the collisions. First of all, the power. You have already studied that power is the work per unit time. Otherwise, in other words, the power is defined as the time rate at which work is done or energy is transferred. So average power can be found as the ratio of work to the time. So W by T is the average power. Then in the instantaneous power, so we have studied the average velocity and instantaneous velocity. You are remembering that one, recall it. And as well, here the instantaneous power is defined as the limiting value of the average power as time interval approaches 0. So here the time is tending to 0 or approaching to 0. Time limit. So limit of t tends to 0, delta W by delta T. So the instantaneous power P will become dW divided by dt, where you know that dW that is the work done is actually force dot displacement. So the work done dW is equal to F dot dr. F dot dr is the work done dW. So substituting this value in this equation, that is P is equal to dW by dt, that is F dot dr by dt, F dot dr divided by dt. So dr by dt, you know that displacement divided by time. Otherwise, rate of change of displacement with respect to the time, it is the velocity. So the power value will be is equal to F dot V. F dot V will be the power. So power is W by T or dW by T or F dot V. Average power value, it is W by T. Instantaneous power value, it is dW by dt. And in terms of the force and velocity, the power can be defined as P is equal to F dot V. Now the various units of power. So you know that power is actually the work by time. So the unit of work, it is joule, and the unit of time, it is second. So you can say the work by time, that is power. So the unit of power, it is joule per second. Joule per second. Togetherly, the joule per second, it is known as the watt. W-A-T-T. So here power is also a scalar quantity. The dimension, it is ml square t raised to minus 3. For work, the dimension, it is ml square t raised to minus 2. Here in the case of the power, it is ml square t raised to minus 3. And the joule per second, 1 watt is actually 1 joule per second, and that is the SI unit of power. So the SI unit of power, it is joule per second or watt. Watt is the SI unit of the power. So watt is actually comparatively, that unit is very smaller one. So for measuring higher power values, we are having another unit, that is horsepower. 1 horsepower is 746 watt. So remember these conversions. 1 horsepower, it is 746 watt, and 1 kilowatt hour, whereas 1 kilogram is 1000 gram, the same thing. 1 kilowatt hour, it is 1000 watts. Now, you know that our consumption of the current in our houses, that is actually, we know that this month 36 units of current we have consumed, or 250 units of current we have consumed. Likewise, we have said where the unit is actually the kilowatt hour. So kilowatt into hour. So you have to convert this kilowatt into the joules. So kilowatt hour is actually, first of all, we have to convert the kilowatt into watt, and as well the hour into second. Then that will become the joule value. Watt second, it is actually the joule. Joule per second, it is watt. So watt second will be joule. So kilowatt hour, kilowatt should be converted into watt, and as well the hour into the form of the second. Kilowatt can be converted into watt by multiplying that with 10 to the power 3. And the hour can be converted into second by multiplying it with 3600. So 1 kilowatt hour, or we can say the 1 unit is equal to 3.6 into 10 to the power 6 joule. 3.6 into 10 to the power 6 joules. So these are the major units of the major other units of power, it is horsepower and kilowatt. And you should know the conversion of a kilowatt hour into the joule. Now we will discuss the collisions. So there are two types of collisions: elastic collision and inelastic collision. So in the case of the elastic collision, where the kinetic energy and the momentum, both the values will be conserved, or we can say before and after the collision. If you are considering the kinetic energy will be equal before and after the collision, and as well the momentum will be also equal before and after the collision. But in the case of the inelastic collision, the momentum will be conserved, that is, momentum will be equal before and after the collision, but the kinetic energy will not be conserved, or kinetic energy will not be saved, will not be a constant. Okay. So now let us see the elastic and inelastic collision in detail. So here, two bodies are colliding. So bodies M1 and M2. So the angle of collision is considered to be 0. After the collision, both the bodies are moving in the straight line. That is one dimensional. So the angle, it is considered to be 0. That is the angle after the collision. Both the bodies are moving together in the same line. So after the collision, their movement path difference, it is 0 only. So initially, so we have now in the case of the completely inelastic collision, the momentum, it is conserved, but the kinetic energy is not conserved. Here, one body is hitting another body, and as a result they are moving, they are combining together and moving together with the same velocity. So here it is m1 m2, this is m1 plus m2. So the momentum before collision, actually considering the m2 is at rest, so momentum before collision is actually the m1 v1 m1 v1 that is v1 it is a velocity of the first body, the initial velocity of the first body. So m1 v1 will be is equal to m1 plus m2 into Vf. So m1 plus, after the collision the m1 and m2 are combined together and moved with the same velocity of Vf, final velocity. So if you want to find out the final velocity in the case of an inelastic collision, Vf will be is equal to m1 divided by m1 plus m2 into v1 . So in the case of the inelastic collision, the Vf value will be is equal to mass of the first body divided by sum of the mass of the first and second body into the velocity of the initial velocity of the first body. Okay, that is the Vf value for an inelastic collision. So now the kinetic energy is not conserved in the case of an inelastic collision. Hence the kinetic energy, there is a variation in the kinetic energy, a kinetic energy difference will be there. That means we can say the loss of kinetic energy. Due to the collision, a loss of kinetic energy is happened, and we have to find out the loss of kinetic energy. So kinetic energy value, it is actually half mv square, that you know. So here initial kinetic energy is actually half of m1 into v1 the square, but m1 the mass of the initial body, v1 the square, v1 square is the square of the velocity, initial velocity of the mass 1. Okay, minus, that is the initial kinetic energy. The final kinetic energy, it is actually half of m1 plus m2 the Vf square. So mass is combined, the m1 and mass m1 and m2 are combined together and moved with the velocity Vf after the collision. So the kinetic energy after the collision, it is m1 plus m2, the half of m1 plus m2 into Vf square. So from the equation 6.23, that is a Vf value, Vf is equal to m1 divided by m1 plus m2 into v1 . You can substitute the Vf value here in this equation. Okay, so Vf square you have to find, that is m1 divided by m1 plus m2 into v1 , the whole square will be there for Vf square. Okay, substituting the Vf value from the equation 6.23 in this equation, and as a result you will get, that means the Vf you are converting, the Vf term you are converting into the term of Vi. Okay, into the term of Vi. So as a result you will get the delta K, the kinetic energy variation after the collision will be half of m1 v1 square minus half of m1 square divided by m1 plus m2 into v1 square. So where half of m1 v1 square can be taken outside, so half of m1 v1 square of 1 minus m1 divided by m1 plus m2. There m1 divided by m1 plus m2, that is 1 minus m1 divided by m1 plus m2, it is there. That is actually m1 plus m2 minus m1 divided by m1 plus m2, isn't it? You are cross multiplying this term with the entire term with the 1. So the equation will become m2 divided by m1 plus m2. Okay, the term which is there in the bracket will become m2 divided by m1 plus m2, and opening that bracket you will get the result as half of m1 m2 divided by m1 plus m2 into v1 square, that is half of the product of the mass m1 and m2 divided by the sum of the masses m1 and m2 into the velocity of the initial mass, where we are considering the v2I is equal to 0. The velocity, initial velocity of the second body is considered to be 0. So that is actually the delta K, kinetic energy variation in the case of the inelastic collision. Now let us come to the elastic collision. Elastic collision, so you have to consider here in this case both the kinetic energy and as well the momentum, both are conserved. So first of all we are considering the momentum. Momentum is conserved. Here one condition, one thing you have to remember, that is in the case of the inelastic collision, after the collision both the bodies combine together and move with the same velocity. But here in this case of the elastic collision, after the collision the bodies are not combining together. The bodies will be moving with a different velocity. Okay, the bodies are not combining together, but bodies are moving with a different velocity. Here also the m2, mass m2 initially considered to be at rest. So as applying the conservation of momentum, m1 v1I will be is equal to m1 v1f plus m2 v2f, where m1 is the mass of the initial body, v1I is the velocity, initial velocity of the mass first body m1. Then that is equal to m1 v1f, where m1 mass of the first body into final velocity of the first body plus m2 v2f, mass of the second body into the final velocity of the second body. So the conservation of where the second body is considered to be at rest initially, so v2I is 0. Thereafter conservation of momentum, it is 6.24, and 6.25 is giving the conservation of energy, that is m1 v1 I square is equal to m1 v1 f square plus m2 v2 f square. From all the terms the half is removed, because on the left hand and the right hand the half it is removed, and you got us m1 v1 I square is equal to m1 v1 f square plus m2 v2 f square. That is the kinetic energy conservation equation. So from equation 6.24 and 6.25 you will get m1 v1I into v2f minus v1I is equal to m1 v1f into v2f minus v1f. That is comparing both the equation, comparing both 6.24 and 6.25, we will get m1 v1I into v2f minus v1I is equal to m1 v1f into v2f minus v1f. Okay, or we can say the v2f into v1I minus v1f is equal to v1I square minus v1f square, where v1I square minus v1f square is actually v1, that is a square minus b square time, that is a plus b into a minus b, that is v1I minus v1f into v1I plus v1f. Hence we can say the v2f is equal to v1I plus v1f. v2f is equal to v1I plus v1f. Okay. So substituting the v2f value in the equation 6.24, substituting the v2f value, that is this value in equation 6.24, this one, we will get the v1f as m1 minus m2 divided by m1 plus m2 into v1I, and as well v2f, the final velocity of body 1 and final velocity of body 2, v2f as 2 m1 v1I divided by m1 plus m2. So the unknown velocity is v1f and v2f. We could find it by using these equations, where the terms that you have to know, that you should know, is m1, m2 and v1I. If you know these terms, then you can find out the final velocities of the body 1 and 2. So there are two cases. If the two masses are equal, then v1f will become 0 and v2f will become v1i. You can substitute the masses. The two masses are equal, that is m1 and m2 you take as m. Then you substitute those values in 6.27 and 6.28. Then you can understand the v1f value will become 0, that is m minus m will be there on the numerator, that is 0, and v2f, that is 2 m1 v1i divided by m1 plus m2, that is 2m. There 2m1 will become 2m divided by m1 plus m2, that is m plus m, that is 2m. 2m will be cancelled, and v2f will be is equal to v1i. And as well, if one of the mass dominates, that is m2 is very much greater than m1, then v1f is equal to approximately equal to minus of v1i, and v2f will be equal to 0. If the mass of the second body is very large, then the v1f, final velocity of the first body, will be minus of v1i. That means its velocity will be same, but it reflect back or bounce back. Okay. And v2f, there will be no changes in the velocity of second body. It will be as 0 only. Okay, these are the major things regarding the collision. And the final velocity, to find out this final velocity, the derivation you should study very well. Okay, thank you.